Drivers, start your engine!
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
One last chance down the back straightaway into corner number 3 and out of corner number 4. Looking to drag race back to the start finish line, but no one will catch him as the 77 of Dalton Wicker will pick up the checkered flag.
This is the Hypershift Racing League on Peacemaker Gaming.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll from the beautiful Las Vegas Motor Speedway as one of these drivers looking to cash in here in Sin City as we get ready to set these drivers loose as a quick qualifying run for each and every one of them has begun. So they're going to jump in on the racetrack. They're going to look to lay down their quick times out there on the speedway, trying to set themselves up for a good start here this evening. There's going to be a lot of drivers, a lot of fast cats looking and hoping to navigate their way into victory lane here this evening. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. As Stephanie in the chat says, go Gage, go! 213 SimWear says, let's go. Good luck, everyone. Elite Cup Racing says, good luck, drivers. Can't wait to see what's in store for tonight's race. I can feel it in the air tonight. Oh, baby! We can too, Elite. We can too. As my boy Lawrence in the chat says, let's go. And my Mr. Landon Burbage in the chat as well says, let's go, Aaron. We like that. We like to see, fans in the stands cheering on not only the drivers, but also cheering your boy up here in the broadcast booth on as well. We put in our heart and soul into this, so getting some praise up here in the booth is always good as well. So we appreciate that, as Landon says, let's go, brother, let's go, let's get it. As Jeff Carson right now, quickest out there on the racetrack. Then we see Gage Wenzel currently sits in position number 2, but here in his second lap, can he find a little bit extra here? Try to leapfrog Jeff Carson and work himself into that pole position. Cedric Ingram up and into position number 3, as Landon says, where's Grandma? Grandma ain't here yet. She ain't here yet, but I'm sure she'll show up at some point tonight. She's always tuning in. She's always coming in to show the love. As Ludi up and into that 3rd position as we get a new quick time. It is Gage Wenzel in the Tom's Tasty Taters in Walleye Fish Sandwiches number 36, who jumps in to that pole position. Ludi's in 3rd. Let's see if he can find a little extra speed here in lap number 2 as he gets knocked out of that 3rd spot, falls back into 4th as John Osborne jumps into position number 3 here on the Speedway. But can Ludi find a little extra here in lap number 2? Looks like Osborne, that was his 2nd lap, and it looks like for Ludi, did find a little extra speed, unfortunately did not move any farther forward, so he's still stuck back in that 4th position. Richard Wolsifer now into position number 5, but it's not going to last for long for the number 56 ride either, as he'll get shuffled back into 6's Matt Sisler jumps in to that 5th spot as the 3 birdies number 31 ride up inside the top 5 now. Tyler Chronister, he's out there. He currently sits back in 11th. Mason Tucker's back in 12th. Michael Carter into the 17th spot on the Speedway. Matt Walters in 21st. Now we have Gavin Grubbs, Dwayne Furtick, Dallas Humans, Ryan Chronister. A lot of drivers still yet to qualify here this evening, so we'll have to wait and see where they can jump into and where they can try to find their runs, their speed, and try to put themselves in to potentially a good position out there on the racetrack, potentially into a spot where they can leapfrog a bunch of these drivers and work their way up towards the front, as Humans jumps into the 6th position. So great run right there for Dallas Humans in his 1st lap. He jumps into that 6th spot on the Speedway. We'll have to wait and see if he can get up there and get another spot or 2 out there on the Speedway, as each and every one of these drivers, man, putting together already what has been an incredible race, some incredible battles out there on the Speedway, and it's going to be fun to see who will find their way into victory lane, as Gavin Grubbs, the V-Speed Victory Fuel B-Main Podcast number 25 ride, jumps up into 4th. That'll move Ludi back into 5th. Good run for him, and a new quick time. Quickest driver out there on the Speedway, the 51 of Dwayne Furtick jumps into that top position on the Speedway, man. What a run, what a drive right there for him, as he's able to slide on up there, put himself into position, and get himself a really good starting spot out there on the Speedway, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to roll here as qualifying has come to a close. We'll get ready to see the rest of the starting grid, because there was a few drivers that did not qualify. Jaden Newson did not qualify. Jack Simpson, Jax Holder, and Michael Sheffield did not put qualifying times down out there on the Speedway. So unfortunately, they will have to start at the back of the pack, but there may be a few others that will try to jump up here, put themselves into position, and try to work themselves into potentially the show here this evening, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, and ready to roll here in just a couple more moments. As we'll get a quick little staging area here, drivers will get ready to jump in there. You already see Dwayne Furtick and Gage Wenzel, our pole sitter and outside pole sitter. The front row, they're loaded in, they're ready to rock and roll, they are ready to go to battle, as Jeff Carson will start in that 3rd position. He's ready to rock and roll. We're waiting for his, the outside driver there in that 4th position, John Osborne, to load in. There he is. There's that Wrangler, number 11 ride of Osborne. Gavin Grubbs in 5th with Ludi, now back into that 6th position here on the starting grid. We'll start there in that 6th spot as Dallas Humans in the 31 and Matt Sisler in 7th and 8th. Bringing up the 5th row in the number 56, it's Richard Wolfsfer, and to his outside is the 94 of Adam Boughton. Starting at 11th is Doug Denise. To his outside, the Logitech number 32 is Cedric Ingram, and then we see that Pepsi number 17 of Max Cost, Tyler Chronister in the Walmart 99, and Mason Tucker in this beautiful number 16 ride, rounding at our top 15. Tommy Pulte there to his outside, as we do see Trevor Massetti, Ryan Chronister, Dalton Wicker, and Brandon Warlick rounding at our top 20. Michael Carter and Kent Mueller back in 21st and 22nd with Fred Pennington in the 7 ride of Corey Denk back there in 23rd and 24th. Matt Walters, Brian King, Drew King, Daniel Wicker, and Jaden Newsom rounding out the rear of the field here for this starting grid. Unfortunately, Jack Simpson, Jax Holder, and Michael Sheffield did not jump out onto the racetrack to start this race, so we'll have to wait and see if they can start from pit side. As Brian Underwood says, Peacemaker equals daddy, brother. You know it. You know I'm your daddy. You know it, my boy. As Emma says, let's go, Gage. Let's go, Gage. Cheering on Mr. Wenzel here this evening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you guys are just tuning in and you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit the like button on the stream for us right now. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here, even if you're rewatching the broadcast. Hit that subscribe button, become part of the Peacemaker family here today, and jump into the comment section. Who do you guys think will pick up the win here this evening in the Locked In Supplements 213 here this evening from Sin City, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, as we and all the anticipation with our feature presentation as we are quickly green flag racing here from Vegas. As Dwayne Furtick down low, but the outside lane looking strong here as Gage Wenzel's trying to stay right there to his outside door, and you see some movement. The 25 ride able to slide up, clears the 11 of John Osborne as he's looking to go after this 9 ride of Jeff Carson. Carson's right there with them, but still door to door. Out in front, man, putting together a great battle, and across the line, it's Gage Wenzel who leads our first lap of the race. So Gage Wenzel with the first lap led here this evening, but how will that middle outside lane treat this 36 ride? Dwayne Furtick just going to continue to keep it pinned down low here. He's going to continue to try to hopefully clear this 36 machine, and he may edge out in front, but man, that outside momentum's paying dividends for the 36. But is that chewing up more of his tires? Is that unfortunately affecting his ride and potentially could cause him to fall back here later in this race? We'll have to wait and see as he continues to try to pull ahead here. He's getting some great runs. He's carried a ton of speed in that outside groove and down the back straightaway. Maybe with this momentum, he may be able to jump up here and potentially, there it is, he clears the number 51 ride of Dwayne Furtick. So for Gage Wenzel, he will now lead the first 3 laps of this feature event. So 3 laps down out of 142. Still a lot of laps left. Still a lot of racing out there on the speedway. A lot of opportunities to work yourself forward and to try to put yourself up and into victory lane, as we'll get them all rolling out there on the speedway. Everyone doing a fantastic job. A little bit more single file here, basically, to the 11 ride of John Osborne, as Osborne's fallen back here 4 positions, sits in that 8th spot on the speedway. So you're going to wonder if potentially for Osborne, is it more of just trying to save some tire out there on the racetrack, trying to keep himself in a good position, not wanting to put himself into a bad spot where he could end up getting some damage and unfortunately in potentially having some more issues out there on the speedway. So we'll have to wait and see if maybe just trying to be a little bit cautious here, trying to manage the tire, manage this race well for John Osborne. It may play out into his favor as we do see Dwayne Furtick fall back into that third position as Jeff Carson jumps up into position number 2 on the Speedway. So Carson up and into second, Dwayne Furtick falls back to third, and now you start to wonder, I mean, teammates there for John Osborne, Dwayne Furtick, is it their game plan? Is it their strategy to kind of hang out here a little bit, to maybe not move too far forward too quick in this race and potentially put the Allegiant racing team into a bad spot later in the run? And if you're going for, short run speed, if you're looking to try to take advantage of it early on, then obviously for Gage Wenzel, for Jeff Carson, maybe that's kind of what they're just kind of laying on right now. But we'll see how this plays out as we're only 6 laps into this race, and man, it is still a dogfight back here. These guys have not given up. They are still door to door. They're still battling hard out there on the Speedway, and it's amazing to see these drivers be able to do this, man. Not just 1 lap, 2 laps, 3 or 4 laps of door-to-door racing action. They've just completed 7 laps of racing action, and for the most part, this field is still stacked right on top of one another, 2 wide, beating and banging, battling here down and through these corners, and every once in a while, you see that little 3 wide battle back there as Jeff Pennington was in the middle. Looks like he gets a good run. With the 88, they'll both clear that number 19 Orion Chronister. Chronister falls back into about that 22nd position as here comes the Tiny Toes number 77, Dalton Wicker. Wicker looking to work his way right on and around that number 19 ride. And there is the Canadian Racing, the 78 rider, the CAN Racing or CN Racing. I don't know. He said it last week, and I don't think it's the Canadian Racing. I think it's the CAN Racing number 78 ride of Jaden Newsom out there as Jaden rolls in that 22nd position on the Speedway. Obviously did not get a qualifying time in, so he started at the back of the pack, but he has worked his way forward and now finds himself in 22nd, already up 7 spots on the Speedway. As we do see Michael Sheffield finally joining the racing action. Our race leader storming down the back straightaway right into him here. He knows that he's going to move down. He's going to stay on the apron. He's going to allow the race leaders in the pack to probably go by him, as unfortunately he is already 10 laps down out there on the racetrack, man. That is a very, very tough spot to be for the VFW number 1 ride. 10 laps down here just to start his day, and obviously it's going to be almost impossible to battle back from that one. But as more and more drivers run into issues, more and more drivers have problems out there on the racetrack, as we may see some big wrecks, some big collisions, and a lot of drivers potentially DNF'd out of this race. And that could be a few spots for him to pick up out there on the Speedway, and where every single point matters here throughout this season. You may want to make sure that you at least get out there, try your luck, maybe even just learn a little bit, get that extra experience here at the mile and a half, kind of figure things out, get some notes, trying some different things. And for the one ride, it's definitely not worth, it's worth the shot out there, and at least worth the extra, seat time as well on the racetrack, as we still see them door to door back here. Matt Walters trying to work his way forward as he works to the inside of that Sim Magic number 15 ride of Brian King, as they're 3 wide. Look out, beating and banging. Oh, the 3G machine almost going around right there. That is the 8 ride of Brandon Warlick. So Warlick in the number 8 machine here this afternoon, as he kind of got bounced around. 3 wide right there. He had Massetti to his outside. I do believe it was the number, I don't know, it was the 15 ride right there, wasn't it? That kind of bounced into him, and luckily enough, they're all able to keep pointing in the right direction, keep on rolling out there on the racetrack. But that was a very close call down across the start-finish line to our potential first yellow flag of the day. Now, luckily enough, that did not happen. We did not see those cautions get thrown, and no one going around right there. So a great break for those drivers to keep themselves out of any craziness and not see our first caution flag of the day fly. Is out in front, still leading the way. Zach Tom, Stacy Taters, and Walleye Fish Sandwiches, number 36, Machina Gage Wenzel continue to hold off Jeff Carson, as Carson now starting to feel a little bit of pressure here as the V-Speed B-Main number 25 of Gavin Grubbs working to his back bumper, and here comes Dallas Humans as well. Humans up inside the top 5. He rolls there in 4th as we see Dwayne Furtick back in 5th, and he's trying to hang on to it, trying to keep himself right here in the battle, but it may set him backwards here. We'll have to wait and see if he can gain that extra little bit, work himself up here, and maybe put himself into a good spot in just a few more laps. Is tire wear going to start to take effect here? More and more drivers going to start to run into issues, going to start to have that tire wear problem, and it'll be interesting to see if that continues here this evening as each and every one of these guys putting together a great race. Great start to this one, man. A lot of drivers moving forward, a few drivers falling back, and that tire wear is going to be, you know, a big key to it here. I think it's got to be working out, especially for a driver like John Osborne. Osborne has been leaking positions like crazy right from the drop of the green flag down to the checkered flag here as the 11 ride already down 11 spots on the Speedway. Started in 4th. He's back in 15th. So if he is saving, man, he's saving aggressively and just waiting patiently out there on the racetrack for his time to shine. As Doug Denise down 5 spots. We see Ryan Chronister down 3 with Mason Tucker. He's lost 6 positions. Trevor Massetti, he's lost 4 spots out there on the racetrack, and as you look back at that 3G number 8 ride who kind of got bounced around right there across the start finish line not too long ago, he's down 6 spots on the racetrack in that 25th position. So you gotta wonder, how is it all going to play out? How is it going to work out here for a lot of these drivers, as it is going to be very, very fun. It's going to be very interesting to see if somebody is able to take advantage of potentially some of these tires. Will it matter? Will they be saving too much where it won't come into play? They won't have enough time to gain back all the spots they gave up early on. As you look at John Osborne giving up those 11 positions, that means there's 11 really fast drivers in front of you that you're going to have to try to find your way back around. And it's not going to be easy. A lot of those guys are going to put up a fight. And if you get into that battle for, you know, let's say the 12th position, the 8th position, it's just going to continue to slow you down. It's going to continue to burn your stuff up, and even by the time he may get back into that 4th spot on the Speedway, his tires may be just as worn out as the other drivers in front of him. So it'll be fun to see how he's able to navigate it. But right now, still just sitting back in that 15th position, 19 laps into this race, and we haven't really seen him move forward as of yet. But for Gavin Grubbs, he continues his march towards the front. Same with Dallas Humans, as Grubbs up and into 2nd. Humans now into that 3rd spot as Jeff Carson's trying to hold on here to position number 4. Unfortunately for Jeff, he is falling back out there on the Speedway, and that is not a fun spot to be if you're the 9 ride. Is, man, you just never want to give up spots. You don't want to be leaking spots out there on the racetrack, but unfortunately, sometimes just, you know, you burn up the tires, you use them up a little too early, trying to be a little too aggressive, and you pay the price later in these runs. And now you're starting to see drivers like that 51 of Dwayne Furtick working his way back around him into that 4th position. So for our pole sitter, he's going to have that same strategy as John Osborne. Now, he did not fall as far back as Osborne, but is Dwayne Furtick maybe on that same game plan, that same strategy call? Save, save, save here throughout this first run, allowing these other drivers to burn their stuff up and battle their way back up towards the front of the field here later in this run. And for right now, for John Osborne, it's looking like it may be hit or miss out there on the racetrack. He's gained at least 1 spot back, getting around Doug Denise. He's looking for another as he shoots down to the inside of the 17 of Max Cost, and it looks like Cost will lose that 13th spot here to John Osborne. So Osborne has gained a couple spots back. We've seen Dwayne Furtick jump back up into 4th here, but he's got Richard Wolfsfer right there with him. And obviously Matt Sisler right there as well. Sisler, Furtick, that 11 right at John Osborne. They have been on a tear here to start this season. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, where they're going to be sitting here at the checkered flag after this 142 laps of racing action. For Gage Wenzel, he had a great finish, a solid run last week. Can he get another solid run here this week and maybe try to keep those Allegiant Racing rides back there at Bay? As Dwayne Furtick picked up the checkered flag 2 weeks ago. came second last week, and it was vice versa for that 11 of John Osborne. He won last week, came second the week before, so they've been on a tear here. First and second between the two of them the last two races in the Allegiant ride. Looks like they're going to be a threat here all season long, as we do see Dwayne working his way back down low underneath of that 39 of Dallas Humans. Humans trying to hold on to that third position. But right now, momentum to the outside lane and getting a little help here. The 56 ride was on his back bumper, but now going to shoot down to the inside. And you can kind of see potentially where the better tires are right now. Is the 51 able to turn down the hill, able to get a great drive off on corner exit. Unfortunately, Dallas Humans was not able to get onto the tires as quickly, and unfortunately, kind of slid him back out there on the racetrack, put him into a very difficult spot out there on the Speedway, and we'll see if he can slowly but surely work his way back in here, as we're already 25 laps. We're about to click off lap number 36 here, so we're inching even closer and closer to our first wave of green flag pit stops. Not too far away for all these drivers, and if that's the case, that really brings into the question mark for a lot of these cats that have been saving tire, like John Osborne. He's still back in that 13th position. That's a net loss right now of -9 positions on the Speedway. So he may only have 10, maybe 15 more laps to really work himself back forward and try to make that a decent strategy. But so far, not working out in the 11 ride's favor. But for Dwayne Furtick, at least back up into third here, he's looking to try to reel in Gage Wenzel and Gavin Grubbs as Gage continues to lead the way, man. That Tom's Tasty Taters and Walleye Fish Sandwiches number 13 machine, man, looking really, really stout here this evening. And we'll have to wait and see if he can continue to just march his way up there, put himself into a spot to, pick up maybe a good solid run, a good win, potentially just a good solid day at the Speedway there for that 36 ride, as I know he's definitely going to want to. He's going to want to see if he can put himself, maybe into victory lane here this evening. And same with Gavin Grubbs, man. This is probably one of the best runs we've seen out of Grubbs, in a little while. He's had some really solid runs as of late. He's been up inside the top 10 and everything else, and this hasn't really gotten the finishes that I think this B-Main podcast ride really deserves out there on the racetrack. But here tonight, man, early on, in here in that second position, looking really, really racy here this evening. Great to see Gavin having a great run out there on the Speedway. It's Richard Wolsifer right there as well. Wolsifer into position number 4. Humans there in 5th, man. It's great to see a lot of these drivers working their way up here, having solid days at the Speedways. You take a look at Adam Boughton. He's back there in 8th. Luty's there in 9th. Tyler Chronister. Man, we've seen Chronister have some incredible runs late last season and early on this season. Has had some pretty solid performances. Unfortunately, it's just kind of ended up on the wrong side of how they kind of played out. But here he is up inside the top 10. Ingram's back behind him. You do see John Osborne working his way, trying to work his way around Tommy Pulte for that 12th position. Just unfortunately not being able to complete that pass as fast as I think he'd want to, as I know he wants to navigate his way back up inside our top 5. Doug Denise right there in 14th, and Michael Carter for the first time here this evening, sliding the Tide 18 ride inside the top 15, and right behind him, a couple fast cats, including our Daytona winner here in that Tom Stacey Taters Daytona 250 from a few weeks ago. The 78 ride of Jaden Newson. Newson's right there as well, just outside the top 15 with Dalton Wicker as Wicker sits in 16th. Jaden's back in 17th. Ryan Chronister has worked his way back up into 18th as Koss continues to fall back as he's now scored in the 19th spot on the Speedway. Fred Pennington in position number 20 with Corey Dank there in 21st. Ryan King back in 22nd. Trevor Massetti there in 23rd with Kent Mueller. Matt Walters, our top 25 out there on the racetrack. And then we see Mason Tucker in the 16. The 34 ride Blinken there right behind the 16 ride. That is Drew King in the 27th spot on the Speedway. That 3G Chevrolet of Brandon Warlick back in 28th. And Daniel Wicker back in 29th here. Last car on the lead lap is Michael Sheffield, still, 10 laps down, 9 laps down out on the Speedway. Scored back in 30th, and Jack Simpson and Jax Holder have not jumped out there onto the racetrack. So heartbreaker for both the Jacks here this evening. Unfortunately, neither of them able to slide out there on the Speedway as of yet. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that and see if one of them can work their way back up and into the fun out there on the racetrack. But man, this is going to be a nail-biter all night long, chat. This is going to be such a fun race, such a great battle, man. Vegas always produces such great racing, and for each and every one of these drivers to put themselves into a position to kind of slide up here and try to put themselves into a good run here, especially early on, could pay dividends. Is down across the line. They complete lap number 35. So 35 laps completed already. They're clicking them off in a quick hurry out there on the Speedway, and for each and every one of these drivers, man, they're just clicking down the laps. They're inching closer and closer to the first green flag pit stop, and obviously, 36 laps now almost of clean and green racing. We may not see a yellow flag all night long. We may not see a single yellow flag. It may stay clean and green all evening here for us, and that would be absolutely amazing. That would be absolutely awesome to see, just non-stop clean green racing out there on the racetrack as Gage Wenzel, Gavin Grubbs, 1 and 2. You do see Dwayne Furtick trying to work his way back up there as he's reeling closer and closer to the back bumper of that 25 ride out there on the Speedway. Richard Wolsifer unfortunately started to lose a little touch here. Good gap here between Furtick and that 56 ride out on the Speedway, but man, there's still a lot of racing, still a lot of battling left to do out there on the track. And for Richard Wolsifer, sitting in that 4th position, sitting pretty here in this first run of the day. And you look back farther, John Osborne's only navigated his way back up into 10th here. I just think he lost way too many positions, chat. Lost way too many spots, fell back way too quick out there on the racetrack, and I think, unfortunately, that has just killed his momentum and has put him into such a difficult spot here on the racetrack that I don't think he's going to work his way back up, man. Started in that 4th position, fell back to 15th. Now he's navigated his way back up and into 10th with maybe a little bit fresher tires, a little bit easier in that first half of the run, but now in this later half, just not being able to pass as many cars as quickly as I think he wanted to or hoped that he would be able to. And I think Dwayne Furtick's feeling that right now as well. He's having a very hard time trying to not only catch up to the back bumper of this 25 ride of Grubbs, but it's one thing to catch him. It's another thing to make the pass on them. And right now I think they're finding out in the tough way right now. I think they're finding out that it is going to be a dogfight and very, very hard for them to be able to work their way up towards the front here and have that opportunity to make these passes, especially later in the run. With fresh tires, yeah, it's easy peasy to make some moves. It's easy to send it deep down low underneath of somebody, slide up in front of them and steal a position. But as these tires continue to fall away, you start to get slower and slower out there. The pace continues to fall off. It's just makes it look like it's impossible to make those moves, to make those positions matter. And already for these drivers, 40 laps of nonstop green flag racing, but last time around, our race leaders ran a 30.7, 30.8 out there on the racetrack. So that has been about a second and a bit here, 1.3 seconds off the pace from where they were first initially running at the start of this race. So that is definitely a lot of tire fall off, and that is definitely having some repercussions for a lot of these drivers out there on the racetrack. But again, you see Grubbs able to hold on and hold off Dwayne Furtick, and this is kind of what we talked about. When these drivers are on that tire saving strategy and they're holding back so much early on, they lose these positions to get those spots back later in the runs. It seems like it's a good idea. It seems like it may work out for you, but a lot of times it just you can't make up the positions that you gave up out there on the racetrack, and Dwayne is doing everything he can. You see him down low, now he's up on the high side, he's moving around the racetrack, he's trying to find a way to get around this 25 ride, and unfortunately just has not been able to get the run that he's needed to be able to complete the pass here on Gavin Grubbs, just kind of running that middle groove, and it's just unfortunately kind of log jammed, that 51 ride. Now you're starting to see Richard Wolsifer, starting to see Dallas Humans track these guys down, get into that battle, and we're starting to see a few more drivers starting to trickle down pit side. We did see already Brandon Warlick down pit side. Now here comes the Randall number 0-0 of Daniel Wicker. Wicker's down pit road. He's going to complete his stop. He will roll back out onto the racetrack. That will put him at least a lap or two down. That is a tough spot to be out there for the 0-0 ride, but for making that earlier pit stop, maybe it'll work out. I think that's going to be the big key to success through this evening. It's going to be down pit side to really make up a lot of ground, to really gain positions out there on the speedway and work yourself forward here. It may be on that tire strategy, just not on the tire strategy that you're thinking of. It may be running longer, whether it's 5 laps or maybe 10 laps. If you can make it on fuel, that may open up the door here for you to kind of go a whole lot farther than other drivers and put yourself into a position where now you have fresh tires and you have, a bit of ground to make up, but you can make a lot of passes that way. So we'll have to wait and see kind of if that's maybe what Furtick's plan is. Maybe Dwayne's kind of thinking, maybe it wasn't tire savings early on in this race. Maybe it was fuel savings. Same with that 11 rider, John Osborne, who's now back up into the 8th position. Maybe it wasn't about the tires this whole time. Maybe it was about that fuel, but 142 laps. They've already ran this time by 46 laps of racing action. So this is probably going to be somewhere near only a 2-stop race. If it stays clean and green, if they're able to run to lap 50 here, it's only going to be a 2-stop race here this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So that means 2 times. You got to be perfect down pit road. Got to get a good pit stop in and cannot have a mistake out there on the racetrack, as Gage Wenzel been out in front for all 46 laps so far, and he's looking to continue that trend here this evening. As you do see Dwayne again, another good run down through 3 and 4. Just could not stay to the inside of the 25. Grubbs able to put the power down on corner exit and able to keep that 51 machine at bay again out there on the racetrack. And it's not been without effort, without try here, because he's been all over Gavin Grubbs trying to find his way around that 25 machine. Just has not had a good enough run to do it. And now here we go. Drivers are heading down pit road, and this is where mistakes could be made. 25 comes in with a big head of steam. So does it a 56. Oh no, Richard Wolsifer gets a black flag. Too fast entering pit road for the 56 ride, and that was a very close call there for Gage Wenzel, as he had Gavin Grubbs all over his left rear quarter panel, almost hooked him around, and for Richard, almost ran right through both of them. If he would have ran into the back bumper of the 36 ride, that could have pushed potentially Gage Wenzel too fast down pit road, and that could have gave Gage a black flag as well, which could have potentially put him way behind the 8 balls. Now we do see Dallas Humans headed down pit road, but we did see Tyler Chronister, Dalton Wicker, Michael Carter, Fred Pennington all head down pit side here on lap number 48. So lap 48, they come down pit road. They make these pit stops. And we did see Matt Sisler the lap before on lap 47 come down pit side. So we'll see where that kind of puts him. He was running at about that, 6th, 7th position out there on the racetrack. And obviously with a little bit fresher tires, only 1 lap fresher tires, being able to run out there on the speedway, it looks like he's I don't know. He did gain quite a bit of ground. And you see Grubbs all over the back bumper here at Gage Wenzel. Grubbs wants this race lead. He wants to be able to try to work his way around this 36. A little lap traffic, though. Gonna wreak havoc there for the 25. Look to the inside of Gage Wenzel. But the 8 rider, Ken Mueller, virtually acted as a blocker, as we did see Jeff Carson now heading down pit road. Here comes Dwayne Furtick. Anthony Luty's down pit side. Here comes Corey Dank, Cedric Ingram, Brian King, Ryan Chronister's down pit road already. Same with Tommy Pulte, Trevor Massetti, Max Cost. Matt Walters all down pit road, and for right now, okay, never mind. Here comes our race leader, Corey Dent. Corey, unfortunately, slipped through his box right there. Had to throw it in reverse. Luckily enough, he was able to do it quick enough that he may be able to keep himself from losing too many spots out there on the speedway. But we see the 94 of Adam Boughton, the 11 of John Osborne, finally working their way down pit road, but they come down pit side here, completing lap number 52 out on the racetrack. So they complete lap number 52 before heading down pit road. That could give them, 5 lap better tires than the rest of the drivers in front of them. That may have been the game plan to save that extra gallon of fuel, be able to make it that extra lap, an extra few laps over a lot of these other drivers, have that little bit of an advantage here with the fresher tires here in just a little bit. So we'll see kind of later in the run again where that's going to put the 11 Ryan, where it's going to put Gage Wenzel and the 25 of Gavin Grubbs, and where does Dwayne Furtick come into the picture here he is trying to hunt back down that 25 in the 36 Ryan. Unfortunately, he's about 2.2 seconds back behind them as Gage Wenzel continues to hold on to the top spot here. Obviously, they're waiting for Kent Mueller to come back down pit road here. Kent has yet to pit, and for the DHL Toyota, he's been out there for a while, and now here he comes finally down pit side to make his green flag pit stop. Man, he would have trapped a lot of drivers a lap down out there if we would have got an untimely caution flag, but for everyone that had already been down pit road, luckily enough, they'll see it kind of cycle back through. We should only see, a couple drivers potentially a lap down out there on the racetrack, but once it kind of cycles back around, it's Gage Wenzel who will reconsume this race lead, pick right up where he left off, out in front, leading the charge here this evening. Grubbs there in second. Now, they both pitted on lap number 48. Back behind them in that 51 ride at Dwayne Furtick. Furtick's actually fallen back from those two. He was about 2.2 seconds, 2.3 seconds back behind Gage Wenzel and Gavin Grubbs. Now it's more towards that 3-second marker. So it seems like Dwayne has already picked right up where he left off at the start of the race, where he's kind of a little bit more tedious, a little bit easier on the tires, maybe not wanting to burn things up too quickly in the run and trying to give himself a little bit better tires later in the run. Obviously, we saw it not quite work out for him. He worked his way back up into third, but did not get a chance to get around that 25 of Grubbs or get a chance to go after Gage Wenzel for the race lead. So for Dwayne Furtick, we'll see, maybe the 3-lap better tires will make the difference this time. Maybe that'll help him out and put him potentially at the front of the field as Adam Boughton right behind him here. Great pit stop cycle there for Adam Boughton as he was able to leapfrog a few of those drivers, finds himself in position number 4, and he's got some of the best tires out of our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Him and John Osborne. Osborne still in 8th. We're both let down pit side on lap 52, so they got a little bit better tires than everyone in front of them here, and they're hoping to use it to their advantage to work themselves into what could be a big win here this evening. And for John Osborne, trying to make it 2 in a row here and 3 in a row for his team, the Allegiant Racing team out there on the speedway. But for Gage Wenzel, he's looking to just continue to lead this race, keep that 25 right of Grubbs back there at bay. But again, man, what a run here tonight for Gavin Grubbs. Man, I gotta say, this is probably the best, race that we've seen out of this 25 machine in both the seasons that we've been here for the Hypershift Racing League, and Grubbs has just picked it up here. I don't know if it's, Vegas, if he's just run a bunch of practice laps here, or if this is like a home track to him or something, but it seems like he's got this place figured out. He's got the speed to potentially compete and battle and maybe put this B-Main Podcast 25 ride up and into victory lane here this evening as Gavin rolls right there on the back bumper of our race leader. But you do start to see Dwayne Furtick reeling him in a little bit more here, so maybe starting to use that little bit fresher tire to his advantage, potentially with obviously Adam Boughton right there on his back bumper and having 1 lap better tires than himself. Dwayne maybe pushing the subject here, maybe run a little bit harder than what he wants to, knowing that if he allows another driver or two to get by him, especially a driver that has better tires than him, that could set him back behind another cat here later in this race. So we'll see how this plays out. But again, a very interesting pit cycle because these guys were able to make it there, a lot of them down to lap 48, some at 47, but majority of these guys pitted around lap 50, 51, lap 52 out there on the racetrack. And the farthest we saw a driver go was Kent Mueller, who was down pit side on lap number 54, meaning that these guys can go a long distance here to a tank of fuel out there on the racetrack. And as we said, I think if this stays clean and green, this is a two-stop race. No one's going to be making that third pit stop. You lose way too much time out there on the racetrack. Not enough that you'll ever gain back with tires out there on the racetrack. So no one's going to make that gamble to come down pit road, you know, midway through this run or midway through the next run. They got to make that two-stop race here until they potentially see a caution flag. If a yellow flag comes out, I think we're still going to see everyone down pit road. Everyone's going to be making a pit stop here even after, you know, 10, 12 laps of racing action. They're going to want those fresh tires again, or else it may just come back to bite them in the butt. It may hurt them more than it'll help them here throughout that run. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a nail-biter, and if everyone has fresh tires, track position will be key late in this race. So being at the front of the field and having a good pit stop and a good pit stall like we see out of Gage Wenzel, Gavin Grubbs, Dwayne Furtick, you know, they're going to be really, really hard to beat here this evening. But I know Boughton and that 99 of Tyler Chronister are going to be trying to do everything they can. And look at John Osborne. And maybe just running that little bit farther, man. Running to that lap 52 marker. Maybe it was just saving fuel throughout that first run. Falling back into that 15th position may have just been, you know, getting that extra couple laps in here throughout that first run, getting that pit cycle started a little bit later than everyone else to give him that, you know, 3, 4 laps, 5 lap better tires than a lot of the drivers here in front of him as he started to work himself around a lot of these drivers. He's paid passes on Dallas Humans, has gotten around Matt Sisler, and now he's looking to reel in Tyler Chronister and poke his nose back inside the top 5 here since the drop of the green flag. So for Osborne, we'll see if he can work his way up there, if he can try to get into that battle at the front of the field, as we do see things tightening up here once again at the front of the pack. So for Gage Wenzel, still holding on to the top spot. Gavin Grubbs right there in second, but you do see Dwayne Furtick has worked his way right back to him, and now we'll see if the 3 lap better tires will work to the advantage of the 51 ride. Maybe just have that extra 3 lap better tires. Maybe that'll make this pass a little bit easier. You'll be able to carry the speed a little bit longer, a little bit farther through the corner, back onto the throttle a little sooner than the 25 ride. I think this is the best opportunity we've seen him be able to make this pass on that 25 machine. But again, the middle lane just paying dividends here for Gavin Grubbs, and Dwayne just can't take that run, can't work his way around that 25 ride. And here comes Gavin Grubbs. He's going to look to the inside of Gage Wenzel. He wants the race lead. Does he slide up and clear him? Here it is. There it is. Big slide job for Gavin Grubbs as he jumps in front of Gage Wenzel. Wenzel will slide back into second, and Gavin Grubbs is our new race leader out there on the Speedway. Besides those pit cycle laps out there on the racetrack, that period where we saw obviously Gage Wenzel down pit road and not out in front, this is the first time we've seen a pass for the race lead out there on the racetrack, man. And Gavin Grubbs, we talked about how good it's been to see him up there at the front of the field and how strong this car is looking. Here he is, battling his way finally around Gage Wenzel and taking that race lead. Was he maybe trying to play coy back there on the back bumper of the 36? Was Gage Wenzel maybe burning his stuff up, just trying to keep the 25 right back there at bay, but maybe he still had 20% left to go? Maybe he was saving there on the back bumper of the 36 ride, and now just able to make a quick move, jump out in front, and now start to pull away from this 36 ride as they're door-to-door back there for third. Dwayne Furtick trying to hold off the hard-charging number 94 of Adam Boughton, as Boughton looking to his inside as they're almost 3 wide here for position number 2 on the racetrack, as Furtick now looking to try to take second away from Gage Wenzel. And for Wenzel, virtually leading the first, 66, 67 laps of this race, and now falling back into that third position as Furtick able to take that second spot away from him. Oh man, this is a bummer for Gage Wenzel and for all the Wenzel fans in the stands, but I don't think he's done yet. But for right now, sitting back there is, oh, it's going to get tight. He shoots back down to the inside of the 51. There's still tight contact down and out of corner number 4, and it opens up the door for Adam Boughton to jump into position number 2. Boughton says, thank you very much. I'll steal both spots from you and slide my way up and into second. As we do see Tyler Chronister work his way around Gage Wenzel, and Chronister now up into position number 4 and looking for more. And as they battle here for that second position, here comes John Osborne, the Wrangler, number 11 ride, right there in that 6th position, looking for a few more spots and obviously looking for 2 more positions to work his way back to where he was supposed to start out there on the racetrack, and that is in position number 4. Can he work his way around Gage Wenzel, maybe catch up here to this 99 ride of Tyler Chronister's? Chronister's trying to work his way around some lap traffic right here, as that is the 34 of Drew King. Unfortunately for King, he has fallen a lap down out there on the racetrack. I do believe for Matt Walters, you see 25 ride, our race leader Gavin Grubb's able to work himself around him as well, so Walters now falls into the lucky dog position. The first car 1 lap down, and he's going to try his best to try to stay right here in this spot. If there is a caution flag, he wants to be here. He wants to be in that picture to be able to get the wave around, to get back into the action here. Is unfortunately for King, Richard Wolsifer, who we saw get a black flag down pit side, are all unfortunately lapped down. And for Wolsifer, unfortunately here for that number 56 machine, he is not in the free pass position. He's going to need not 1 but maybe 2 or 3 caution flags here throughout the later half of this race to work his way back into the action, as we're just past that halfway marker. And we do see another driver down pit road. I think this is a little bit early here. Fred Pennington, I think this is an off-schedule pit stop here for Fred. I don't see the game plan coming down pit road here on lap number 72, because he's not going to be able to make it to the end of this race without having to make a additional pit stop out there. So maybe he's just willing to gamble, willing to play that risk here to make that earlier pit stop. Hope the leapfrog work his way through the field here, see things cycle back through, maybe catch a caution flag, or maybe just see stay clean and green, make that, couple stops. Hope that he runs enough speed that he makes up for that pit stop and gain some out there on the racetrack. I just don't know if you're going to be able to gain that much. You just give up so much down pit side that with the fresher tires, even 20 laps, 30 lap fresher tires, it's not going to, draw you, that 50 seconds back that you lost out there on the racetrack, making that additional pit stop over everybody else. As Gavin Grubbs continues to lead the way, he's got 0.6 of a second between himself and Adam Boughton. Boughton, though, has been slowly but surely working his way back towards that 25 ride, but just got blocked right there by the 10 ride. Oh, baby, I don't think Boughton's going to like that one. That's a big block down through 3 and 4. That's going to hold him up, slow him down. Now falls to about 0.7 of a second from our race leader. So for Gavin Grubbs, he loves to see it, because that's just going to hold these guys up that much more. Going to make their tires that much worse and may be able to hold on a little bit better here to that race lead. But here comes Boughton. Here comes Dwayne Furtank on the charge back to the front of the field. It's Tyler Chronister there in 4th. Gage Wenzel back in that 5th position, trying to keep John Osborne back there at bay. But Osborne looking right down to his inside. Can he work his way around the Tom's Tasty Taters Walleye Fish Sandwiches number 36 machine, as Matt Sisler, Dallas Humans, Cendric Ingram there in that 32 ride in the 9th position, and it's Anthony Ludi in the Robin Hood Toyota rounding out our top 10. Jeff Carson back in 11th with Ryan Chronister in position number 12. Doug Denise in that 13th spot on the Speedway. And then we do see Michael Carter in position number 14. Dalton Wicker rounding out our top 15 out there on the Speedway, trying to battle his way up from a tough qualifying spot out there on the racetrack. And you do see Jaden Newson, who did not get a qualifying run, did not have a qualifying attempt out there on the racetrack, has worked his way up 13 positions, now sits in that 16th spot on the Speedway. Corey Dank right there as well in 17th, and bringing up the rear of this little 4-car pack back out there on the racetrack is that 26 of Tommy Pulte. A little farther back, you see Trevor Massetti and Brian King running out our top 20 as he's got Max Koss, Ken Mueller, and that 16 of Mason Tucker right there with him. Actually, Tucker's quite a ways back from those guys. He is way back there, man. It's 9-second gap between our 21st, 22nd driver to our 23rd place driver, Mason Tucker. That is a huge gap out there on the racetrack. Brandon Warlick a little farther back here. Unfortunately, looks like Brandon has fallen a lap down here now as well. He'll move into that free pass position. He is now in the lucky dog spot. He'll try to keep himself just in front of that 10 ride of Matt Walters. And then you do see Richard Wolsifer, Fred Pennington, Daniel Wicker, and Drew King, unfortunately bringing up the back of the pack here in that 29th position. Michael Sheffield, he was kind of running that strategy. He was 10 laps down to start this race, did not make the start of this race, and unfortunately virtually started his day 10 laps down. It looks like after lap 28, he had called it an afternoon. It took him that car down pit sign, and looks like he's taking it back down behind pit wall. So it looks like his day is done. So he started. Virtually 30 drivers have taken laps here this evening. Only 29 still roll out on the racetrack, with Sheffield back behind pit wall, and Jack Simpson, Jack's Holder, did not jump out onto the racetrack here to start this race. But for Gavin Grubbs, he continues to lead them all. Is Grubbs out in front, but he's looking to hold on and hold off that 94 ride of Adam Boughton for the race lead. Boughton, though, does have about 4 lap better tires than that number 25 ride. Will that be the difference maker? We saw how tough it was for Dwayne Furtick to try to make his way around this 25 ride later in that first run. Before we saw this first wave of green flag pit stops, Dwayne was all over his back bumper, making big moves out to the inside, looking to the outside, mounting a lot of challenges to try to get around this Victory Fuel B-Main Podcast 25 machine. Unfortunately, just was not able to get a good enough run to take that spot away from him. And now here in this second run of the day, will the 94 ride of Adam Boughton be able to pull it off? Will he be able to make that move and virtually make the second pass for the race lead here this evening, as it's been all virtually Gage Wenzel and Gavin Grubbs here for green flag laps led out there? Other than our our pit stop cycle there, we saw a few different drivers lead a lap or two out there on the speedway, but for drivers to be able to make passes for the race lead out on the racetrack and not down pit road, it's only been Gavin Grubbs who's worked his way around Gage Wenzel and stolen that race lead. Unfortunately for Wenzel, I don't know if it's a bad set of tires here for the 36 ride or maybe just the wrong changes down pit road, but something's changed in this 36 ride. I can't believe we've seen him fall this far back here throughout this run, as Gage finds himself now back in position number 7 on the racetrack, meaning that he not only gave up the race lead, but he got passed by Boughton, Furtick, Cronister, Osborne now, and Matt Sisler in that number 31 ride. And Sisler has a lap older tires than Gage Wenzel, and that's the big surprise to me, is that Gage is falling back behind this car. If it was a tire issue, you'd see Gavin Grubbs starting to slide back and Tyler Cronister fall back as well, compared to some of these better tires out there on the speedway. Unfortunately, it seems to be only this 36 that has lost a ton of positions throughout this run. And now here comes John Osborne. It took him a little while here, but finally, after early on in this race losing a ton of positions, went from 4th starting position on the racetrack to falling back to 15th there throughout that first run. Slowly but surely navigated his way back up into the top 10. We saw those pit stops. He was in the 8th position at the time that he came down pit road, and now here he is again navigating his way up and into position number 4. So he's right where he started. Does he have enough left in the tank? Does he have the right strategy call that he's going to be able to jump up here and battle for back-to-back wins here in this 11 ride, and potentially a three-peat on the podium, not only for himself but his Allegiant Racing teammate? the 51 of Dwayne Furtick, man. They have been on such a run to start this season, but man, what a run here tonight at Sin City for Gavin Grubbs as he continues to hold on to the top spot. We're inching closer and closer to that second and potentially final wave of green flag pit stops here this evening. I think this will be the final wave of green flag pit stops for all of these drivers. I don't think we're going to see anybody else make a green flag pit stop unless they run into an issue out on the speedway here after this next wave, and they're going to all come down pit road. I'm going to say in the next 8 to 12 laps, maybe going a little bit farther here. Obviously, you take a look at Bounton and how he was able to jump up into the top 2 positions, and now looking for the race lead here with 4 lap better tires than Gavin Grubbs. You look at Dwayne Furtick and John Osborne, some of these drivers that waited a little bit while longer before making their way down pit side, and how it's kind of working out for them fairly decently, at least for the 94 ride, as he's trying to take that race lead away from Gavin Grubbs, but Grubbs just holding strong on that outside groove. He's not going to give it up easily. Bounton runs him up a little bit higher there through 3 and 4. He's going to edge out in front of that outside momentum for Grubbs, going to give him the race lead as they head back down and across the start finish line, completing lap number 91 out there on the speedway. So 91 laps completed, but here through 1 and 2, big run right there for the 94 ride of Bounton. He slides up, he clears the 25 ride of Gavin Grubbs, and for Adam Bounton, he makes the second pass during green flag racing for the race lead. So it was the 25 that was finally able to work his way around Gage Wenzel. Wenzel sliding back like a rock out there on the racetrack, and now Adam Bounton out in front with that race lead as John Osborne makes the move on his teammate for position number 3 on the speedway. So move Osborne back up into 3rd here. Furtick falls into 4th, but for Adam Bounton now having control of this race, man. We saw how good he was during that first wave of green flag pit stops. It seemed like he really gained probably about 2 or 3 spots just down pit road. I feel like he can make really, really good green flag pit stops out there on the racetrack, and if that is the case, if he can gain a couple seconds and still have, you know, the same tires or maybe a little bit better tires than the drivers back behind him, it may put Bounton into the driver's seat here late in this race, and it's going to be game time decisions in a quick hurry for all these drivers on when they want to make their way down pit road. They were able to make it 50 plus laps there throughout that first run. Throughout this run, you know, they've ran about 40, some of them about 46 laps here, so they're inching closer and closer. They're probably having to make their way back down pit side out there on the speedway, but I think for a few of these drivers pitting a little bit earlier, we saw how that kind of worked out for them. When you look back at that number 36 of Gage Wenzel, he was one of the first drivers to really come down pit road. He's fallen back here into the 11th position, but I just think he got a bad set of tires, or just made some bad adjustments to this race car, because the tires have held up for Matt Sisler. They've held up nicely for Tyler Chronister. Even for Gavin Grubbs, they've been working out pretty well for him. But for a couple drivers that waited a little while longer, like Adam Bounton and John Osborne, they were a couple of the final drivers to work their way down pit side. Obviously, having a good car and a fast car helps you out a ton out there on the racetrack. But they were down pit side on lap 52 here, virtually 4 laps after Grubbs and virtually 4 laps after Gage Wenzel, and here they are sitting 1 and 2 out there on the speedway. Now obviously we just saw Grubbs come down pit road, so it looks like for Gavin, he's playing that earlier pit stop strategy. You see the 31 ride of Matt Sisler going down pit side with him, and Jaden Newson going to make that same call here. So they all come down pit road fairly early. Now they know they're pretty good on fuel here. They're good to go from this point on, that they won't have to make another green flag pit stop. Obviously, if we see a late race caution flag, majority of these drivers are all going to come back down pit road, use up an extra set of fresh tires, because they still have 2 sets back behind pit wall. We had 4 sets of tires to start this race behind pit wall. They only used their second set out there on the racetrack. So they've all still got a couple cents. I'm sure they would love to see a late race yellow and be able to use the fresh tires to work themselves forward out there on the racetrack. As we see Jeff Carson now down pit side, Tyler Chronister, Michael Carter, they work their way down pit road here on lap 97. Now we'll start to see some more, including our race leader. Here comes Adam Boughton. Now I thought Boughton was going to stay out a little bit while longer. Honestly, I thought we were going to see him kind of run towards that lap 104-ish area, maybe 103 before coming down pit road, but he's going to make the call to pit a little bit earlier, so I think that's going to force John Osborne and maybe Dwayne Furtick to run a little bit longer here. And maybe they were thinking lap 98 or lap 99 that they were going to come down pit road, try to short pit and leapfrog that 94 ride. Unfortunately, it's not going to work out for them as he comes down way earlier than they did, as you do see Gage Wenzel, Ludi, Humans, Denise, Massetti, Dalton Wicker all down pit road. Here comes Wicker now down pit side. So more and more of these drivers making these green flag pit stops, and it's going to be John Osborne who consumes that race lead. And for the 11 ride, he's not coming down pit road just yet. I think he's going to try to take this as far as he can, and across the line will complete lap 100 out there on the speedway. So 100 laps down, 42 more laps left to go here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 42 more laps left to duke it out here for John Osborne. Does the strategy play into his hands? Will he be able to make those light race moves and put himself up into the winning position? We saw Dwayne Furtick, our pole sitter, come down pit road just the lap prior here, and now we do see the race leader, John Osborne, head down pit side. So Osborne gives up the race lead, pits on lap 101, so virtually 3 laps after Adam Boughton and a lot of these other drivers. So we'll see where this kind of all stacks up, as I believe Boughton is leading the charge here. Dwayne Furtick, you see him just rolling back out onto the racetrack here. Now he's going to have a few of these drivers be able to work their way around him. He's got some lap traffic there as well, but still hanging on to a pretty good spot, but he is about 2.6 seconds behind Adam Boughton and now Tyler Chronister and Gavin Grubbs. Grubbs was down pit road way earlier than those guys back on lap 96. Now he's got a pretty good gap between himself and Boughton. Chronister, Sisler, Dwayne Furtick, John Osborne, he's rolling back out here. Where does he slide into? Where does he jump back out onto the racetrack? Here comes Furtick, his teammate, able to work his way back around the 11 ride, but maybe that little bit extra better tires later in this run will work into his favor. But unfortunately, there's only 40 laps left to go here in this feature event. So 40 laps left, you got to make sure that get everything you can out of these fresh tires. Work your way up there. Give yourself a chance. Give yourself an opportunity to try to make it count out there on the speedway. But for Gavin Grubbs, man, he's going to consume this race lead once again as Kent Mueller running it long here again. I'll have to wait and see where this DHL Toyota finally decides to come down pit road. It looks like he's going to potentially run another lap or two here. He was one of the latest drivers. Actually, he was the last driver to pit throughout that first wave of green flag pit stops. Looks like he's going to stay out for at least not too much longer. Looks like he's headed down pit road right now, so he only goes 50 laps here on that second stint. So does go a little farther than everybody else, but not as far as I think he may have been able to go. But this is going to give the race lead back here to Gavin Grubbs, and with a 2-second gap between himself and Adam Boughton, he's just hoping that he can manage that gap, hope that the tires hold on here. He's got 2 lap older tires than Adam Boughton, 1 lap older tires than Tyler Chronister, but unfortunately now 4 laps and 5 lap older tires than Dwayne Furtick and the 11 ride of John Osborne out there on the speedway. As Osborne rounds out our top 5, you do see Matt Sisler in that 3 birdies golf number 31 ride in that 6th position. Then we see Jeff Carson, Anthony Ludi, Cedric Ingram, and Gage Wenzel, our early race leader, back in that 10th spot on the speedway, man. This is definitely a bad fall off for the 36 ride, man. I did not think after the first, 65 laps of this race that we would see Gage Wenzel here just trying to battle to keep himself inside the top 10. Without a pit road speeding penalty or anything like that, I did not think he'd fall this far back. I don't know if it was just, the sunlight kind of going away. Now it's getting a little bit, darker out. The lights are turning on here at Las Vegas. Maybe that has just changed the entire, handling aspect of this 36 ride, and now he's just, struggling. He's on the struggle bus. He's been on the struggle bus, and it may continue to be that way, but it's brought Gavin Grubbs to life. It's brought Adam Boughton, Tyler Chronister right into the battle here at the front of the field, and it's going to be a close one. It's going to be tight. It's going to be some really, really interesting racing here. Try to watch Boughton work his way back around Gavin Grubbs. Grubbs is not going to give it up easy, knowing that it could be the pass for the race win here this evening. Chronister's right there as well. He's ready to pounce, and then you look a little farther back, you do see Furtick and Osborne both trying to race their way up there back into the battle for the top spots here this evening. But nice and easy down across the line. They'll complete lap number 108 on the racetrack. So 108 laps down. I do believe that is, 34 more laps left to go here in this feature event. So still a lot of laps left here, still a lot of time to navigate your way to the front, but unfortunately time is running out rather quickly here for a bunch of these drivers. As we're gonna jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming crank it up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit the thumbs up button on the broadcast for us right now, and make sure you hit that subscribe button as we're gonna crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. see a beautiful crank it up, the sights and sounds around Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And we got a good look at the action out in front as we see our race leader starting a beat and bang in battle. Adam Boughton trying to make the pass there on Gavin Grubbs. Unfortunately, they get tangled together down and through corner number 3 and 4. They bounce against each other a few times down the front straightaway. Now they're hooked together again, and around goes Boughton. Oh, man, it was bound to happen, but, man, Tyler Chronister able to take the race lead away, but now contact between Boughton and Grubbs, and I feel those two are not very happy with one another. We may have to play this back a little bit farther because these two were absolutely duking it out here. Let's take a look here, obviously, at the contact here between the two of them as, man, these guys were just battling so hard. I think they both knew that they had a good opportunity to win here this evening. And you take a look at the 25 ride, gets a good run on corner exit. The 94 kind of leaves the outside a little bit open. Looks like maybe he tries to slide up there to close the door right there. And in the 25 ride this late in the race was not going to let out of it. Was not going to give him that. And unfortunately, as he does, gets into that right rear, kind of hooks him up into the outside fence, and unfortunately has nowhere else to go except for left, and helps spin him around here to bring out our first caution flag of the day, man. 120 laps of nonstop green flag racing, and it comes to a close here at the front of the field, but we're going to go back a little bit farther because these two were absolutely duking it out here. So this is a few laps prior, even a lap prior. The 94 gets a great run to the outside, is able to work his way to the outside of the 25 right, and then down into corner number 3. You're going to watch the 25, send it in there deep, starts to wash up the racetrack, and right here they get together, and obviously for the 94, he's trying to cut down the racetrack, trying to work his way down and around the corner. Unfortunately, the 25 right leaves him no room. Boughton bounces it off the outside fence. They get tangled together not once, but twice, and a few more times here. Down this front straightaways, here we go again. Here they go, not even at the start-finish line, more contact. It shoves the 25 right a little sideways, the 94 up the racetrack, and here comes the 99 of Tyler Chronister, who was in third, sees these two bouncing around, and he's just going to jump right on up through the middle and steal the race lead away from both of them. They were duking it out so much that it opened up the door for Chronister to steal the race lead from him, and that's going to make things very, very interesting here late in this race. Now, we do see green flag, or not green flag pit stops, but pit stops being laid down. We're going to play these back here and take a look after the craziness out in front. Let's take a look because Dwayne Furtick and John Osborne come out with the race lead here. Now, let's take a look and see for our pole sitter, is it 2 tires, 4 tires? What's the strategy call here for the 51 as Chronister loses the race lead, spinning quite a ways back behind them. Here we go, into the pit stall, jacks up the right side, getting the tires on. Is it just a good stop here? Well, no, it's 2 tires. 2 tires for both the 11 and the 51 ride. And if we play this back a little bit, Tyler Chronister, is it 2 tires for him as well? Is this the call? 2 tires out there on the speedway? No, he gets 4. So Tyler Chronister gets 4 tires, and by my calculations, everyone else that's back there behind him for the most part are probably on 4 tires as well. So that could be what either wins or loses this race for Dwayne Furtick and John Osborne, as they're going to be on 2 tires, and there's a lot of other drivers that are on 2 tires as well. As I do look through the field here, I think Ryan Chronister might be on 2 tires. I'm not 100% sure, potentially for Jeff Carson. I think he's in line where he was supposed to be. Corey Denk may have taken 2 tires there. You look back a little farther at Dalton Wicker and a few more of these drivers. What's the strategy call there for them? And really, what was the call? As I do believe Gavin Grubbs has gotten a black flag. He may have gotten caught speeding down pit road here as well during this yellow flag. So unfortunately for the Victory Fuel B-Main Podcast number 25 ride, such a good run, such a good race, and hate to see it go this way. And now the 10 ride, trying to avoid him or something there, gets sideways and around here. Under yellow, he's going to tag the fence there as well. I'm not sure what just happened to Matt Walters, but luckily enough, able to get it rolling again as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing as the green flag back out into the air. Dwayne Furtick, John Osborne 1 and 2 on the Speedway, and now it's a battle between 2 tires and 4 tires out there on the racetrack. Who will get the best run? Who will have the advantage here late in this race as Furtick leads us down the back straightaway as Chronister looks down to the inside of Osborne trying to steal position number 2. And it looks like just that outside lane paying off for the 11 right as of right now, but the 2 tires here paying off for the 51 of Dwayne Furtick, but we still have 18 laps left to go here in this feature event. So still a lot of laps, still a lot of time where those 2 tires may start to fall off a little bit more. You may start to struggle here later in this run. If it's a bunch of cautions breeding cautions, it may work out into their favor, but if it stays clean and green here for the final 18-19 laps of this race, they could really start to feel that pain and that heat later in this run. So we'll have to wait and see. But for right now, the 2 drivers that have finished 1 and 2 the last 2 races, sitting 1 and 2 again out there on the racetrack, man. You couldn't have drawn that one up any better for Dwayne Furtick or John Osborne as they're looking for, you know, back-to-back-to-back 1-2 finishes here in the Hypershift Racing League, man. Getting off to some very hot starts here on the season as unfortunately the 4 tires, I don't know if they're working out here right now as Tyler Chronister going to lose a spot to Ryan Chronister. Ryan in that middle lane able to work his way up and into that 3rd position. Tyler falls back into 4th here as here comes Sisler, Jeff Carson, and the 77 of Dalton Wicker who's worked his way up and into 7th here. Dalton making some really big moves here late in this race, trying to get this tiny toes right for the first time this evening up towards the front of the field. Corey Denk right there as well. The Robin Hood 95 ride of Anthony Ludi trying to keep himself right here in the battle inside the top 10, and same with that Sirius XM number 40 of Doug Denise. But some crazy racing here, not only at the front of the field, but throughout this pack. We knew it was going to be crazy. We knew it was going to be wild, seeing that late race yellow flag, and our only yellow flag of the day be displayed. And now for all these drivers, fresh tires, a lot of momentum late in this race. The slipping and sliding, the heat is picking up here in Las Vegas, and for some of these drivers, it's the gamble that may pay off here this evening. They may be able to cash in and win big here at Sin City. We'll have to wait and see if it can go the other way here for Chronister. Maybe staying steady, making the smart move, the smart bet with the 4 tires. Will it work into his favor? Not too sure if it will, because time is running out in a quick hurry here on this Walmart 99 ride. And even for some of these other drivers back behind him with the 4-tire pit stops, it may just not work out into their favor at all. But you still see Dalton Wicker trying to make some more moves here, trying to work his way around that Carson setup shop number 9 ride as Jeff Carson will slide back into 7th. Dalton Wicker up and into 6 here. Can Wicker somehow find his way up inside the top 5 here this evening? This is the first time we've seen him inside the top 10 all evening long for him and Corey Denk, and now here they are both trying to race their way up towards the front in the top 10 as of right now, but also trying to work their way maybe into the top 5 here. If Dalton can catch up to Matt Sisler, maybe Tyler Chronister, maybe he's got something for him, maybe he can jump up there and battle for a top 5 run here this evening. But for Dwayne Furtick, he's got the top spot, he's out in front, the laps are clicking down in a quick hurry, and for this 51 machine back down across the line, matching the number of his teammate. It is 11 laps left to go here. So for Furtick and Osborne, what's the game plan? You stay 1-2 on the racetrack? Do you battle for the race lead? If you're Osborne, I mean, late in this race, I mean, you kind of throw that teammate idea out the window. You want this win just as badly as that 51 ride. You got to be chasing him down. You got to try to make a move, but at what cost? Will it cost you potentially opening up the door for the 19 rider, Ryan Chronister or Tyler Chronister, to be able to work their way around you and maybe steal the win from you here, or just slide your teammate back deeper in the field here and you be able to steal the win away from them? At what cost will it make that move as you see the 11 go up to the high side, looking for a big run there in that high lane through corner 1 and 2. Unfortunately, Not much working up there for him, and couldn't get that much farther forward, and does not make up any ground here as Dwayne Furtick able to pull another tenth or two in front of the 11 Ryan and give himself a little bit more breathing room here as the laps continue to click down. 9 laps left to go here. For the 19 of Ryan Chronister, the 99 ride of Tyler Chronister, man, they got anything left in the tank for these two? Can they work their way up here and maybe try to steal these top 2 spots and make it a Chronister 1 and 2 and put themselves out in front as Ryan all over the back bumper here with John Osborne? And you got to wonder if maybe the 4 tires here may start to pay off for the 99 Ryan, but will it be too late here in the run for it to be really that big of an advantage here for the 99? Still holding on to 4. Still a really good run for Tyler, but man, having that race lead coming down pit side here with, 20 laps or so left to go in this race. To come out in that 3rd position, fall back to 4th on the restart is not what I think he had drawn up, and unfortunately, I feel like he's going to feel like he threw this one away, man. But Dwayne Furtick and Osborne, they have been absolutely locked in here to start this season. And here tonight in the Locked In Supplements 213, man, they are looking really, really good and looking to try to find their way into the Locked In Supplements victory lane here this evening as Dwayne Furtick will lead us once again back down the back straightaway into corner number 3. Nice and easy out of corner number 4. He'll complete lap 136. And we only got 6 more laps left to go. 6 more laps, and it's about 0.6 of a second between Furtick and his teammate Osborne. As Osborne rolls there in position number 2 on the Speedway. Ryan Chronister, Tyler Chronister still sit 3rd and 4th out there on the racetrack. Matt Sisler rounds out our top 5 as we see a pair of Tiny Toes rides there in 6th and 7th with Dalton Wicker and Corey Dank. And then we do see Anthony Ludy, Jeff Cartson, and working his way back inside the top 10 is that Tom's Tasty Taters and Walleye Fish Sandwiches, number 36 rider Gage Wenzel. Wenzel back inside the top 10 here, trying to hold off that SiriusXM number 40 of Doug Denise. Brian King, great rebound here for King late in this race, as well as the Simagic Ryan has worked his way up and into that 12th position as Cedric Ingram, Kent Mueller, Dallas Humans rounding out our top 15. Back behind him, a driver that was battling for the race lead, got turned. He was one of the ones that brought that caution flag out. It's the 94 of Adam Boughton. Finds himself back here in that 16th position. Gavin Grubbs, the other counterpart to that first caution flag of the day. Grubbs back in 17th. So these two go from battling for the race lead to now battling back, just trying to work their way maybe into a top 15 performance here this evening. And unfortunately, they're running out of time, and I'm not sure if they'll work their way back up into that battle for a top 15 spot. But for Dwayne Furtick, man, he's just running away. I don't think anyone's got anything for him here. You don't see anyone being able to make even a move on John Osborne. Osborne, I don't know if he's just playing blocker and playing defense here for his teammate, keeping these guys back there at bay, dumping dirty air on the nose of the Chronisters here and affecting their rides, but they have not been able to really show anything to the 11 or the 51 in the 2-tire pit stop. Again, late in this race, getting that track position, having that clean air. Looks like it's going to prove dividends for him, man, with only 2 laps left to go. I mean, biting potentially a late race caution flag or something going wrong here for one of these drivers. They're looking bound for a 1-2 finish for the 3rd race in a row here between Furtick and Osborne and the Allegiant Racing team out there on the Speedway. It's Furtick down and into corner number 3. Nice and easy out of corner number 4. Back down and across the line for the 51 ride. No late race yellow flags at this point because the white flag has been displayed. This will be our final lap here in Sin City in the Locked In Supplements 213 as Dwayne Furtick with the race lead, looking for his 2nd win on the season as he heads down the back straightaway for the final time here this evening. Taking us into corner number 3, man, he's got no pressure to his back bumper, and even if he did, it's his teammate Osborne there in 2nd as he rounds corner number 4. Back down and across the line, the 51 of Dwayne Furtick will find his way back into victory lane here in the Hypershift Racing League, man. What a run, what a drive, and what a performance for Dwayne Furtick and John Osborne, man. Another 1-2 finish. 3 races in a row. It's been all Furtick and Osborne out in front, man. These two have been just on a roll to start this season. I don't know how they got it done, man. They didn't have the best luck. Obviously, we saw Dwayne didn't make it to our Daytona opener. Heartbreaker there for him. Osborne was there, but ran into some tough luck. Did not get the run that he was hoping for there in Daytona. But honestly, last 3 races, Dwayne has won. Osborne won. And now Dwayne back into victory lane. And in both those races, these two have been 1 and 2 out there on the racetrack, and now they're going to celebrate out there on the Speedway as you see the 11 and the 15 there. Teammate Brian King on the front straightaway, ready to party, ready to celebrate here with their teammate as Dwayne Furtick picks up the dub and pulls that Dell Logitech Chrome number 51 into victory lane. He'll get the congratulations here from his teammates as they'll burn down the house here in Sin City. And we'll get ready to pull our top 3 up and into the broadcast booth here for their post-race interviews. Post-race interviews coming up next. We'll get these guys up and into the waiting room and pull them in to the broadcast booth here for their post-race interviews, man. I'm sure they're going to be pumped up again, man. I don't know if I saw this one coming. We talked about it throughout the race. We saw the idea. Furtick was right up there inside the top 5 all night long. Osborne falling back to 15th, though, early on. I wasn't sure if they were going to be able to pull off the 1-2 again, but, man, they proved me wrong here this evening, and Osborne able to work his way right back up there, and I don't know if that caution flag helped them out, if that gave them this opportunity. I don't know if they were going to be able to work their way around Tyler Chronister late in this race, or maybe even trying to get around the 25 or the 94 ride. I'm not sure if they were going to be able to pull that off, but man, what a show, what a race, what a performance. Only 1 yellow flag for 142 laps of racing action here. Great show, great run for those guys. We'll get ready to pull our race winner, Dwayne Furtick, up here into the booth. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for our race winner. Hey, Dwayne, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Copy, man.
Dwayne, brother, what a run, what a race for you again here tonight as you and John have just been on a roll the last 3 races in, first driver on the season to find victory lane not once but now twice as you get the dub here in the Locked In Supplements 213 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Brother, take us back through it and what's going through your mind as you get to celebrate out there on the racetrack on the front straightaway.
Just first and foremost, just huge thanks to my teammates, Brian and John. It's just an incredible team. This air team, we're on a roll. Go Papaya.
Yeah, definitely on a roll, to say the least, as obviously now a first, a second, and a third here in our last 3 races for you. I mean, can't talk about a hotter driver except for maybe your teammate John Osborne back there behind you, because he was second, first, and second now. What amounts to this, man? What are you guys doing differently than everybody else? Is it just strategy? Is it just game planning, practice throughout the rest of the week that sets you guys up for such a big runs like you've had over the last 3 weeks? What's the game plan here for you guys?
Well, it's just taking it 1 race at a time, just trying to be the best version of ourselves. We're not perfect. We just strive to be the best races that we possibly can. We put a ton of work in, and from a communication standpoint, we're always, obviously in alignment, and it's just a great feeling to be on a team like this. So I'm highly thankful.
Yeah, absolutely. A great team, great drivers there on the team with you, and obviously, this one came down to a little bit of strategy there late in this race, because obviously our first caution flag of the day with only 20 laps or so left to go in this race, we see you, John, come down pit road, 2-tire pit stops there. Was it always 2 tires? We saw a lot of drivers back behind you go with the 4 tires, and it seemed like it hurt them more than it helped them here late in this race. So was it more about just getting out in front of those guys, having that clean air, and knowing that you can get it done with those 2 tires late in this race?
It was pretty much a no-brainer. I mean, once you get these papaya colors up front, I mean, we're pretty tough to beat. So
Yeah, absolutely looked like it because they were not catching it. Didn't even really show a bumper to you or John here late in this race to try to steal a spot away from you guys here, as you guys were just able to drive away in those closing 20 laps of this race and park yourselves 1 and 2 out there on the racetrack. But do you think potentially, obviously we saw the craziness, we saw the battle in there, early on in that first run of the day where it seemed like you and John kind of fell back a little bit, maybe saving a little bit of fuel, maybe saving a little bit of tires. We saw you work your way back up into that 3rd position. You were trying for a long time to get around that 25 ride. It just seemed like, so much later in the run, you couldn't quite make that pass, and it seemed like it was a struggle for you there for a little while. Do you think, late in this race, if we would have stayed clean and green, obviously if there was no big contact and beating and banging out of the 94 and the 25, that you guys could have worked your way back up here as, obviously Chronister took in the race lead away from them, but as they were fighting there, obviously it drew you guys right back into it, but without that action, I don't know if you guys would have been able to get up here, man. I don't know if you guys would have been able to get it, but that yellow flag kind of saved your bacon.
I feel like they were already coming back to us, so we felt pretty good. We were just maintaining, solid pace. But I came over the radio once, I took the checker, and I'm like, this is a little bit bittersweet because, Adam, him and I have had our battles, but Buddy's fair, and it's just disheartening to see that. I hate it for him. He put together in my mind, a solid race, and it would have been nice for us to battle it out, and so that was just disappointing to see what happened to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely tough for him, tough for the 25 ride as well. We were hoping to see this one go clean and green as well, see if you guys were able to not only catch up to them, we figured you'd be able to get there, but as I say, it seemed like it was so hard to pass later in these runs as these tires started to fall off that you may have been able to catch them, but being able to work yourself not only around Chronister, but then back around Grubbs and then the 94 ride to steal the race win away from them. Do you think you could have got that done late in the race?
I feel like we could. I mean, we're going to give it our best try, and most importantly, we're going to try to do it clean. And so there's a certain race etiquette that we expect out of ourselves and our competitors. And so either way, we were going to do our best, but do it clean.
Absolutely. Well, that is all into the history books as it all happened, and it plays out perfectly for you. That caution flag allows you guys to come down pit road, put your strategy into works here, taking those 2 tires, have the front row for the restart, and you 2 drive away and come home 1 and 2 again as you pick up another checkered flag here in the Hypershift Racing League. Dwayne, who would you like to thank here for another great run and great performance out there on the Speedway?
Obviously, thank my amazing wife. Shout out to John and Brian, awesome teammates. Brian, he's on the way. Like I said again last week or maybe week prior, but he's a racer in real life. He's going to be a problem to deal with here soon, so don't count him out. He's a highly talented guy. Obviously, want to thank the league admins here, Adam, Ludi, admins here, and huge thanks to our sponsors, league sponsors. IMB Racewear, JuicySpydr, Tom's Tasty Taters, and 213 SimWear. Thank you to you guys. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, Dwayne, congratulations on the win, man. Another great run, another great performance for you out there on the Speedway, and we can't wait to see you guys back in action again next Thursday night and see if you can make it potentially 4 races in a row inside the top 2 and maybe your 3rd win on the season next Thursday night.
Hey, thank you, and thank you to you as well. Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. Always my pleasure. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Dwayne Furtick, as Dwayne picks up the dub and pulls the 51 up and in to victory lane here at Las Vegas Motor Speedways. We'll get ready now to pull in our 2nd place finisher, his teammate, the 11 ride of John Osborne. Osborne comes home in position number 2. Let's get him up here into the booth. Hey, John, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth to get a copy.
Oh, what's up, Aaron?
Not much, John, brother. Another race, another solid run for not only you, but the team again here, man, as you and Dwayne have just been on a roll for the last 3 weeks, man. First and second in all 3 of the last 3 races, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind, because this has been an incredible run, incredible performance out of the 2 of you.
Man, it's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Me and Dwayne are just having just a ball. And I know I've said it before, but we're working to get Brian up here. He had some issues with the update and kind of messed some of his stuff up, and he didn't have enough time to get it fixed. But man, the car felt really good tonight. Just trying to be patient on the long run. I was hoping we'd get a lot of green flag racing, and boy, did we. It was really unfortunate what happened with the 25 and the 94. But, Dwayne and I were already licking our chops at that point. We had pitted before them on that last stop. I mean, after them, after everybody in front of us on that last stop. And, if you did it within 3 or 4 laps, that 3 or 4 laps was definitely going to make a big difference after about 20 laps in the fuel run. So we were sitting good. And as soon as that caution came out, I just said 2 tires, put 1 can of fuel in it to help it stay a little bit, help it free up a little bit, put a little bit more weight in the rear. And so I told him, I was like, hey, man, take the low line, and I'll count us down. I'm better at that than him. So I was like, I'll count us down on the restart. We're going to go early in the box. And so he nailed it perfect. And I knew 2 tires was going to be the call there. We didn't have a ton of wear on the lefts. We hadn't run enough laps. And I know the 19 took 2. He was a little further back. And I was like, man, if we can get by the 99, then I think, once his tires, get up to temp, he'll probably be a little bit better than the 19 on 2, and then they'll get side by side. And so my goal was just aero block, and I was like, hey, man, this is all you, dude. I was like, I'm not even going to try to pass you, because the moment I get up there and try to pass you, it's just going to bring everybody behind us up to us. And so, I mean, I saw that happen so many times tonight, with the 36 fighting early. When you get side by side, especially at this track, it just brings everybody behind you up to you. And I told him, I was like, hey, whichever one of us gets out front, the other one needs to protect. And so I was just doing everything I could to aero block the 19, and it worked. It worked really well. And he was like, dude, you kept going high and sometimes middle and sometimes low. And I was like, yeah, that was by design. I was like, I just needed to keep you back there. I'm real happy for Brian, with all the issues that he was dealing with. He did recover and finish 13th tonight. So, overall a great night for the entire team, but the racing was fun. I feel bad for Adam. He had a lot of speed, especially long run speed. And I know he's probably pretty hot right now, which he should be. But yeah, man, super fun night. I think last week it was me 1 and Dwayne 2, and and tonight it's Dwayne 1, me 2, and maybe we do it again next week. This is a lot of fun. I don't mind. Feel like we're yo-yoing, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's definitely not out of the picture. I was a little bit doubtful of it early on, as we saw you, obviously starting that 4th position, obviously showing some good speed at the 11 ride, but you fell back into that 15th position, and I was thinking, man, that may be too far back. Later in this run, yes, he may have a little bit better tire than the drivers in front of him, but being able to try to make those passes just may not come that easy, and it may just kind of, hold you back and keep you kind of trapped back there. But slowly but surely, you work your way back up into the top 10, and by that first wave of green flag pit stops, you pit from that 8th position, and then you just keep on getting chunks back. A couple more here, a couple more there, and slowly but surely right back into the battle inside the top 5, top 4, and here late in the race, man, the doors open up for you guys as you're already on the hunt, trying to get to the front. It would have been interesting to see you guys battle there, obviously with Tyler and the 25 of Grubbs, and obviously Adam for potentially the win here late in this race. I don't know if you guys would have been able to get there or not without that issue between the two of the drivers there, the 25 and the 94. But man, heck of a show and heck of a drive for you, and it made me eat my words. I didn't think you were gonna be able to get there, man. I said I didn't think that strategy was gonna play out too well for you. Just watching how difficult it was for some of these other drivers to make passes on those older tires, and you proved me wrong here tonight, man, with another solid second place run.
Yeah, I fell back. That was if I didn't know how hard everybody was going to push. There's a few guys in here who are pretty aggressive, and when you got a lot of grip like we did here tonight, it's very tempting to just go ahead and send it pretty hard. Now you'll be fast in the front, but at the back end you're going to pay for it. And so when all these guys just started zooming past me, I'm like, all right, well I'm going to force them to the high side and just keep running the bottom. And so you're right, I did fall back to 15th, and I also felt that might have been a little too far back. But once it kind of leveled off behind me, and there was a little bit of gap where no one was really closing on me like those first 14 or 11 cars were. I was like, all right, I'm gonna settle in here and then just be patient. If I can get up inside the top 10, my pit road entry here, I've got that down to a science, and so I knew I could probably make up a little bit of time on pit road and also staying out a little bit longer than some of the guys ahead that were pitting. And it did work out. And I started feeling a whole lot more confident after that first pit stop. I had a lot more speed than the guys ahead. I could send it a little bit harder because I had a little bit of extra rubber. But I actually had way better tire wear on the second run, and I felt like I was driving harder, but I didn't have any cars around me. There was a lot of clean air, so I was able to just run my line, enter in one, and then drive up to the wall off of 2, and the same thing 3, and then drive up to the wall out of 4 into the tri-oval, and that saved a lot of tires. So but yeah, falling back was by design. I just didn't anticipate needing to fall back that far. Thankfully it did work out. And you said it, I don't know how it would have worked out if it had stayed green. The car was really fast. I was catching all the guys in front. And it might have been the same scenario. I just try to help Dwayne any way that I can. And then just try to, have a 1-2 or maybe a 1-3 finish or, somewhere there. But, yeah, we didn't know what this setup was going to be tonight after the update this past Tuesday, but it was very similar to how it felt in my other league race last Saturday. And so the speeds are a little slower, it was a little tighter. We had a little later start in this race, but overall pretty good, man.
Yeah, well, it definitely looked good, and it worked out well for you as you parked at 11, right back up on the podium in the second position. John, who would you like to thank for another great run and great performance out there on the racetrack?
Aaron, definitely want to give you a big thank you. I appreciate you. I went back and watched the broadcast after the race last week. You do a fantastic job keeping it exciting. So thank you for what you do up here in the booth. Think Anthony, obviously, and Adam and whoever else helps, run Hypershift. It's an honor to be in here. Not only just in the league, competing week in and week out. So, think both of them. They're two great guys. Race very clean, have good speed. Anthony's picked up quite a bit of speed over the last, couple years. So I know he's got to be real happy about that and kind of chomping at the bit to hopefully get a dub at some point. And I'm sure it's coming. But, definitely want to thank, my dad. He's down in Florida. My Uncle Chet, my cousin Scotty. I believe they watched the race tonight. Hopefully they were able to make it in. So if you guys did make it into the race, second felt like a win tonight. So we're good. It was a team win. So, but I appreciate y'all. My dad's visiting Florida, so that's why I'm saying it all to the family. But Yeah, and think old Wrangler jeans. I decided to put Wrangler on the car tonight. I know we're not in Texas, but Vegas is kind of a faux cowboy area, right?
Yep.
Um,
Close enough.
I guess I was rhinestone cowboy tonight.
There you go.
But all right, man. Well, I don't even know where we at next week. I don't even know.
That is a good question. Cool.
Trying to look.
Texas.
Oh boy. All right. Well,
Yep.
here
Let's
we go
keep it-
again.
Yeah, keep the same paint scheme and maybe get the same result out of it, man. Another second place run wouldn't be the end of the world. And for top two performances in 4 weeks is definitely something I think every driver would be very, very ecstatic about.
Yes, sir. Well, appreciate you, and hope you have a good Friday and a great weekend. And we will see you next Thursday night.
Beauty, we look forward to it, John. Congrats on the second place run, man. And yeah, as you said, we'll see you back out there next Thursday and see if you can join us right back up here in the broadcast booth.
All right, buddy.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, John Osborne. As John comes home in position number 2. Now, he messaged me last week. I actually should have went through this earlier. I probably should have looked at those messages again. I don't know if he pronounces it Osborne or Osborne. Sometimes they pronounce the S as a Z. I'll have to double check that again. I know sometimes I don't know. I'd have to check it again. Now it's kind of messing with my brain. Is it Osborne or is it Osborne? We'll have to wait and see. But we'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher, Ryan Chronister. Chronister coming home in third with such a good run. Great drive here for the 19. Ryan, let's get him up here into the booth. Hey, Ryan, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Aaron.
Ryan, man, what a run. What a drive for you here tonight, man. Obviously, a pretty good hot rod out there on the racetrack. We saw you battling up there, towards the top 10 for a lot of this race. A couple times you kind of fell back a little bit, but getting yourself back into the battle. And then here late in this race, obviously making that 2-tire pit stop puts you into that 4th position, and you're able to work your way right around Tyler Chronister and into position number 3. And it seemed like those 2 tires obviously paid off massively here, not only for yourself, but for the 2 cars that finished in front of you there for Dwayne Furtick and John Osborne as well, as you guys come home 1, 2, and 3 out there on the Speedway. And Tyler with the 4 tires, unfortunately, stuck back in position number 4.
Yeah, I really hadn't talked about it going into the pits on that last caution until I was entering pit road, and I just said, screw it, I'm going to take right sides only. And after the tire change, I looked at my left sides, and they were like 90, 91, and I said, okay, that was a good choice. But yeah, the 2 tires held up really, really well. I was running side by side with him and Matt, I think, after the final restart there for a couple laps. I was able to get past him, and being able to run single file and staggering where you are with the guy in front of you to try to get some clean air is huge. And towards the end, I had a couple runs on John. I thought I was going to be able to get alongside him, and he did a great job at aero blocking and just took the air off the car, and I couldn't get up alongside him. But yeah, it was definitely a lot better run than I have had the last couple weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. An incredible run, a great drive for you, and being able to finally work your way up and onto the podium for the first time here this season. And what is now, race 4 now on the season being completed? So, I mean, an early trip up here. I mean, looking good already on the season, man. We see this momentum being built up, not only for yourself, but also Tyler here with a great run back there in 4th. We start to see the Chronisters up here, maybe chasing down wins and trying to put yourselves, into victory lane.
Yeah, trying to. I mean, that's are just being brothers for forever. There was a lot of trash talking going on between us during the race, and he was up in the top 3, and I'm in the back hanging out saving tires, and I'm like, all right, let's just wait till the end of this fuel run, and see how many I pick off and catch up to you. I'm kind of torn on that late caution. I think I restarted like 16th or came back out on the track 16th after the green flag pit stop, and I had worked my way up to 10th, I think. And I was moving forward. If we stayed green, just the extra laps that I had on the tires pitting, I think pretty much last, I was definitely making up ground. One way or another, I was going to get up to the front and try to get myself around him from all the smack talk he was doing tonight. But yeah, it was good, and hopefully we can have a lot more good races coming up. I love these intermediate tracks, so we got a lot of them on the schedule, and these are my favorite places to go.
Absolutely. Well, we head right back to one next week as we hit the Texas Motor Speedway. Man, how you feeling about going to Texas? Do you think you can back up this performance with another good run there in the Lone Star State?
Yeah, I think so. Texas is a lot different than this, even though they're both the same size. Just the turn 1 and 2 is different than 3 and 4, and you gotta know how to drive them, otherwise you're gonna wear your tires out. And yeah, Texas is another one of my favorites, so looking forward to another good run there, hopefully.
Alrighty, well, we look forward to hopefully seeing you right back up here in the broadcast booth again next Thursday night. But here tonight, man, heck of a run, heck of a drive for you, Ryan. Who would you like to thank for such a great performance out there on the Speedway?
Just me and Tyler do a lot of this together, and so we're trying to race together as much as we can, and always got to thank the admins for this league. This is my second year in this league, and these guys do a awesome job keeping everything rolling, and keeping everybody in line, and being prompt with their updates and any changes and stuff like that. I really enjoy being here. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, man, great run, great drive here tonight in Las Vegas. And as I said, hopefully we see you right back up here on the podium, maybe a couple spots better into victory lane next Thursday in Texas. Ryan, congrats on the great night, and we'll get you right back up here.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, Ryan Chronister. As Chronister comes home in position number 3 here this evening, that will unfortunately close out the day here as the Locked In Supplements 213 comes to a close here in this one, man. Great race, great run. Almost a full race without a caution flag there until about lap 120, where we see our first yellow flag be displayed there. It's tight battling at the front of the field. Things are heating up. Drivers not wanting to give up the race lead. Others trying to steal it away from them. And, man, just some tight battling there. Heartbreaker for both Grubbs and for the 94 of Adam Boughton, and it looks like Grubbs was able to get back around Boughton there in those closing laps as the 25 comes home in 16th. Boughton comes home in 17th, man. They're battling for the race lead. What could have been a 1-2 performance for them potentially, or maybe even just a good, solid top 5 run. They both end up outside the top 15 out there on the Speedway. So heartbreaker for both of them, man. Hard battling for the race lead and what could have been the race win here this evening. And unfortunately, neither of them get it, and they give it right to Dwayne Furtick, John Osborne, and rounding out our podium, man, that 19 ride of Ryan Chronister. Is some great runs, some great performances from all these drivers, man, in a night of amazing racing action here in the Locked In Supplements 213 from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Unfortunately, that is it from Sin City. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Everyone coming in with the likes, the comments, the shares, man. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Unfortunately, that will do it for us here tonight. We'll see you guys back in here in the next one, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.